Did you know that an expert fighter's gaze strategy differs significantly from a novice's? A fascinating study on kendo fighters has shed light on this. The study aimed to analyze the visual search strategies of expert kendo fighters through sparring practices to understand the technique known as Enzan no Metsuke. The participants included 10 experts, 10 novices, and 1 kendo master. The findings were intriguing. The kendo master and the experts were found to fixate most of the time on their opponent's eyes or head region using a visual search strategy involving fewer fixations but of longer duration. This contrasted sharply with the novices who tended to focus mainly on their opponent's sword. This difference in gaze strategy between experts and novices highlights an important facet of martial arts. The way a fighter chooses to focus their gaze is not a trivial matter. It's not just about where the opponent's sword is, but about understanding the opponent as a whole. Clearly, where a fighter chooses to focus their gaze can make a significant difference in their performance. So, what does this mean for you, whether you're an expert or a beginner in martial arts? Let's delve into the technique of Enzan no Metsuke, a strategy that's as profound as it is practical. This strategy, deeply rooted in the art of kendo, involves gazing at the opponent's entire body without focusing on any one point. It's akin to viewing a mountain from afar, taking in the whole landscape rather than fixating on a single tree. Now you might be wondering, why is this important? Well, when you're in the heat of a fight, being able to read your opponent's movements, anticipate their attacks, and respond appropriately can make the difference between victory and defeat. By adopting the Enzan no Metsuke technique, you're allowing yourself to be fully aware of your opponent's actions, their stance, their potential next move. This isn't about having eyes in the back of your head, but rather about widening your perspective, taking in the whole scene. It's about understanding that every movement, however minute, can signify an incoming attack or a defensive retreat. But what happens when you're up against multiple opponents? This is where the technique truly shines. Instead of darting your eyes between multiple threats, which can leave you disoriented and vulnerable, you focus on a point between them. This allows you to maintain awareness of the entire group, their movements, and potential attacks. Remember, in the art of combat, your gaze is not just about seeing. It's about understanding, about predicting, and ultimately about controlling the fight. The Enzan no Metsuke technique isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset, a way to perceive and understand the world around you. It's about seeing the mountain, not just the trees. Whether you're up against one opponent or several, the Enzan no Metsuke technique can be a game changer. Now, how can you apply these findings to your own combat training? It's not as daunting as it may sound. The first step is understanding the concept of Enzan no Metsuke, which is essentially gazing at your opponent as if you were looking at a distant mountain. This allows you to perceive the whole picture, rather than focusing on one particular point. So how can you train your gaze to function like this? One method is to take up exercises that enhance your peripheral vision. These could be anything from playing catch with multiple balls to reading a book while being aware of the movements around you. The goal is to train your eyes to see more than what's directly in front of you. Another important aspect is developing your situational awareness. This means being aware of your surroundings and understanding the context of the situation. A good way to practice this is through sparring. In a controlled environment, try to anticipate your opponent's moves, not by watching their eyes, but by observing their entire body language. You can also try visual search strategies where you practice focusing on different parts of an opponent's body without getting stuck on one point. This could be done by watching recorded fights and trying to predict the next move based on body language. The key to all of this practice is patience. Changing the way you look at things doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires consistency and dedication, but the benefits are worth it. By training your gaze, you're not just improving your combat skills, but also enhancing your overall perception and awareness. So take these tips and start incorporating them into your training routine. Try different exercises, mix them up, and find what works best for you. Remember, the objective is not just to look, but to truly see and anticipate. Remember, the eyes are not just the window to the soul, but also a key to winning in combat. So start training your gaze today and see the difference it makes in your performance.